Whenever this creature deals damage to creatures, it comes in the form of -1/-1 counters, which we think of as Wither.
Yeah.
And then if it deals damage to a player,
it
deals damage in the form of poison counters. And as you remember, you need 10 poison counters to kill an opponent. We go back
what you did there when you said "as you remember." I think that's extremely optimistic.
Of course, people remember. Who can forget? I mean, maybe it's because I live in the same part of the country as Jake Van Loonen that I'm constantly reminded that you can kill someone with 10 poison counters.
Oh, really? Like every Tuesday when you draft for them? Okay.
And then when Ichor Rats enter the battlefield, each player gets a poison counter. You also get one, but
never mind. My deck's going to be full of poison, and theirs hopefully isn't. That's the deal with
exactly.
Symmetrical, but not, as we like to say.
Right.
Okay, so we are gearing up for Game 2, and we will stick with this match, and then after the second game, we will take you across town to see what's going on in Michael Jacob up against poor Rietzel, with Rietzel 1-0 up. Thanks, Mana Tide, you rock. Spells that aren't meant to be in the colour. Whose idea was that? Blue, that's the colour of counter magic.
It's
quite a few white counter spells around this weekend, haven't there?
Sure,
actually?
and there's we also have a lapse of certainty in Paul's sideboard. So we have a memory lapse and a force spike.
Brad shuffling away.
I love the story of Paul's third game against Thomas Ma. Just the idea that you can. You can look at the numbers all you want, but in the end, the idea that this is very much a game of skill. It's kind of fitting in a top 8 with Kai. Kai was really the poster child for skill in Magic. Mm-hmm. People really, are like, oh, well, this guy is just going to win all the time. He's obviously better than everybody else. Like, oh, I guess so. Hey, him and John and Bob, were the people that really made you realize, oh, better players win more games than, weaker opponents. And it's kind of fitting, kind of nice to see that, in play, and Paul just, he had a great game plan for his match, and executed it perfectly. He kept a 1-land hand based on seeing 2 relics in his opening hand.
There is no doubt that planning gets you a very long way.
Yeah.
We're chatting with Frank Carsten on Hall of Fame. We did a great piece. You did a great piece a few days ago with him, talking about the matchup that Thiago Chan faced against Gabriel Nassif in the top 8 of Worlds 2006, where Thiago was meant to be dead 3-0 in approximately half an hour. And 3.5 hours later, he was still fighting away. Nassif took the match in the end, but it's Frank Carsten we have to blame for that bonus 3 hours of epic encounter. Found a way to stay alive.
See Brad Nelson going back to the well for 6 more cards. Brad Nelson's up 1-0 here. Yeah.
So the mulligan, that's the time you want a mulligan if you have to, when you're ahead.
Sure.
You don't want to be in the O2 hole.
Unless you're Gerard Fabiano, in which case you never mulligan.
Oh, is that how it works?
That's how it works.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Is that his superpower hero skill?
That is his superpower. He never mulligans.
Oh, nice.
Conley Woods. I've also never seen Conley Woods mulligan.
But that's not so much to do with having good or bad hands. That's just because no one's explained to Conley that you're allowed to throw away your opening hand yet. I think that's how that one works.
Wait.
Sounds like 2 Infest and Slaughter Pact have gone in for Brad. No major surprise there. Let's have a couple of mass removal, and against Moraine it may well be mass removal. -2/-2 to everything. As we are underway in Game 2.
Celestial Colonnade for Moraine.
The 4/4 Vigilant Flyer, eventually. Treefolk Harbinger. Has Brad had like a Treefolk Harbinger turn 1 every game of the top 8 so far?
He did not have one turn 1 in Game 1. He had a Treetop
Village.
Village.
It was turn 2, yeah.
And there he uses it in the more traditional go get a Murmuring Bosk kind of way, rather than the Treefolk into Doran opening that we saw in Kibler's match.
Spreading Seas. Yep. And of course Moraine had 1 extra to bring in from the board, had 3 main.
Yep. That's not a... Is it? Oh, sorry.
Oops.
Yeah.
I'll show you 2 cards in my hand. I'm going to play one anyway.
Yeah, so no harm done. Tarmogoyf comes down to join the Treefolk Harbinger.
The old 01 Tarmogoyf.
Rumours of the Tarmogoyf demise severely exaggerated, to put it mildly.
I mean, this is his last big pro event for a little while. This is a card that's going to rotate out of extended by the time the PTQ season for Paris rolls around.
If you've not seen the schedule for next year, by the way, what a weekend we're going to kick off with. And not just because there's a Pro Tour. Pro Tour Paris will be, I think it's Valentine's weekend. And it will be the St. Valentine's Day Massacre, because we have Pro Tour on Thursday and Friday. Saturday then will be day 1 of a Grand Prix in Paris, which we are thinking could be somewhere between 2,500 and 3,000 players.
There were a lot of rumors that on a couple of different Magic sites that the first Pro Tour of the year was going to be in Hawaii.
Yes,
and
I saw that.
My wife was aware of those rumors and was very excited about the possibility of going back to Hawaii. So when the schedule was posted, I talked to her and I was like, I've got some good news and I've got, some less good news. And she's like, all right, what's the bad news? I'm like, well, there's no Hawaii. And she's like, oh. I'm like, but we can go to Paris and
Paris in the spring.
Yeah. Paris and Valentine's Day. We went
so
there.
You're not drafting that evening?
I am not. We went there for Worlds. It was just one of the most amazing cities I've ever been in.
It's a very, very beautiful place. Can't wait to welcome the world of Magic there. Tarmogoyf in. And you see Moraine's face, and
we see Creature.
He's not looking too happy.
There's an instant tribal land and Creature all in the graveyard.
Knight of the Reliquary comes down for Brad Nelson, and noticeable he is playing at a much speedier pace against Moraine than he did against Kai. I really feel that Kai dictated the pace of that match.
Well, he was under pressure from Kai and not the other way around, too.
Indeed.
With Pro Tour photographer Craig Gibson in Brad's face as he makes the decision. There's a 3/3 flying Coral Helm Commander. Drop plays it, levels it up immediately.
And that can eventually become 4/4 and make all the other merfolk get bigger. That's what's bringing the action to you. There you see Pro Tour photographer Craig Gibson in on the action.
It's very funny. He has a personal archive of very incriminating Pro Tour photos that we make sure his gym membership is up to date. we're like, oh, have you gotten your cardio in today, Craig? We know they're in a safety deposit box waiting for his...
in Geneva somewhere.
Yeah.
Okay. So live it down to 12. Tarmogoyf, Knight of the Reliquary, Treefolk Harbinger against nothing. That does not seem optimal for the merfolk player. Already one down. So an interesting situation in the other match, which is where Michael Jacob has assembled one combo, which is Punishing Fire and Grove of the Burn Willows, but Reitzel has taken himself a little bit out of range in that he has double Honor of the Pure down. So the whole one of those things we've been talking about all weekend of Punishing Fire deals 2 is 2 the correct number to be dealing is not quite at the moment, because those creatures are going to be slightly out of range. Reitzel 1 to the good, remember, over Jacob. So Nelson sacrifices Forest.
Didn't he?
And goes in search of a treetop village by the looks of things. See Tarmogoyf, that looks like another Knight of the Reliquary sitting in Brad Nelson's hand. And one more. Is that a nameless inversion?
That's probably a slaughter pact.
Uh-huh. So Forest with Spreading Seas on it, Treetop Village, Murmuring Bosque, Swamp. Knight of the Reliquary, Tarmogoyf, Tree for Carbinger. Against a lot of tapped lands and a Celestial Colonnade. Moraine waits to see what Nelson's next move is.
Lumberjack Brad ponders his next move.
Looks like that next move is about to be forwards into the red zone.
Yep.
Another Knight of the Reliquary comes down. In comes Tarmogoyf. And that puts Moraine down to 8. And there will be more Knight of the Reliquary action from Brad. Thens his library some more. Just got rid of a Murmuring Bosque. Gets himself a Forest. Down it comes. Double Knight of the Reliquary, Tarmogoyf, Tree for Carbinger, another Tarmogoyf. What does Brian do about this? Sweep up his permanents?
He needs to... Yeah, good read.
There we go. Look at that. All right, well, we're going to take you across to the other semi-final because Brad is in decent shape here in this one, 2 to the good over Moraine. In that match, I can tell you that it is also 2-0 because Paul Rietzel, with his white weenie deck, is leading Mike Jacob by 2-0. While we go there, let's bring you 4 more cards from Scars of Mirrodin. So, as the players get ready to have a good look, getting ready for their third games, respectively, this set we've got Ica Clawmere, Ironmere, Leadenmere, and Kemba's Skyguard. Which of these do you like, BDM?
Well, I kind of like Icar Chlormere because just kind of a funny story about it. They were giving away cards from Scars of Mirrodin as people were leaving the party last night, and people would get one of the mirror, which meant you would probably get one of these Leadenmere, Ironmere that we've already seen before, but you know, every odd person actually got an Icar Chlormere.
Right.
I happened to be lucky enough to be one of those people to get one of those.
Is that one of those air quotes, happened enough to be lucky?
Sure.
Okay.
Rashad and I both happened to get one.
Oh, fantastic.
And we were taking the tram back to the hotel, and we were flipping through our cards, and there were a couple of kids who were going back in that direction also, and they're like, oh, what's that one? I haven't seen that one. So we both traded ours away for zombie tokens, I believe.
Awesome. That's tough.
I got 2 zombie tokens, and Rashad got 2 plant tokens.
Excellent. I quite like Kemba's Skyguard because one of the more miserable things in Magic is when you invest in this 3 mana in a 2/2 flyer and you want to be beating down with it, and then your opponent, they make a 4/4 or a 4/5, and you soon realize that this 2/2 isn't going to be flying through the air, it's going to be chump blocking. And that little 2 life gain when it enters the battlefield might just give you 1 extra turn of doing what you want to do with 2/2 flyers for 3 in white, which is turn them sideways and deal some damage.
Or mean that you don't need to chump block because you have a little bit of an extra turn. Going back to the mirror for a second, this is another infect creature that presents an interesting challenge for your opponent in a limited game. It's a 1-1 for 2, but if they block it, it becomes a 3-3. And so, that's a little more challenging to block. It has infect, so it's not like you can block it easily with a wall. But if it gets through, then you're looking at 1 poison counter also.
All right, well, let's take you to Michael Jacob against Paul Rietzel, where they stand at 2-0 in favor of Rietzel, who you see there on the right of your screen, getting ready for his game 3. And his opponent in the hat, with his back to the camera as we speak, there he is, the man in the hat, Michael Jacob. Also of the United States, tremendous weekend for the US, 5 out of the top 8, 3 Europeans, 0 Japanese. Interesting. I'll have a look at the rundown of the top representatives from around the world as we go. And Rietzel, as I say, felt like he had the tools this time to go all the way. He felt he had a little edge in this one overall. But he's got to be feeling pretty happy to be 2-0 up against the teachings with, as you say, William, so many ways to put creatures in the bin.
Yeah, I mean, he already has the Punishing Fire Engine, which we've seen can be trumped by... let's take a look at Paul's resume.
So he's 25. His second Pro Tour top 8 was 3rd place in Honolulu. As I said, the deck really didn't have a win written all over it, and he knew it. So he will have been very happy to finish 3rd. 3 Grand Prix top 8s. All over the formats, he's got top 8s in Legacy, Extended, Sealed and Draft at Grand Prix level. And then again here, the multi-format. And it is really worth saying what a phenomenal pair of formats this has turned out to be this weekend.
And his play goes back to, like so many players you see who do on the Pro Tour, to being teenager really.
Yes.
He's been around the game for probably close to half his life.
Mm-hmm.
Let's take a look at Michael Jacobs' resume.
So there he is, the 26-year-old, back-to-back national championship team performances, 07 and 08, and of course the team world champion that year. 3 Grand Prix top 8s. This is his first Pro Tour top 8, and a reward for steady persistence.
Right.
As I say, he put his game together. He felt that he needed a mental workout to put himself in the right place again. Cared just a little too much, and he's put himself in a place now where he's a little bit calmer about things and knows things go wrong, and then sometimes things go right. And here we go in game 3 with Rietzel underway with Burrington Forge Tenor.
Honor of the Pure. Attack for 2. Everyone's favorite hobby in Magic, attacking for 2.
I thought everyone's favorite hobby in Magic was countering things. Is that not how it works?
No.
Oh, okay.
Nobody likes doing that.
Oh, no. No, we really do. Grove of the Burnt Willows. 50% of the combo assembled. But it did not help Jacob in game 2. Knight of the White Orchid comes down.
Does it resolve?
If it does, he will be able to go get a land. That does. There's a lightning bolt for it.
Oh, okay. I see. So I got a 21.
That looks like a pretty old lightning bolt.
Some of his islands looked a little old too.
Yeah, that's fair. I had a fantastic time at Gen Con Indianapolis and met a gentleman who carried a deck box with him with 11 alpha decks in. They were kind of sealed product, essentially, but every single deck had nothing but alpha cards in. It was like, I barely wanted to shuffle.
Did you get to attack with an Ironroot Tree Folk?
I got to attack with an Ironroot Tree Folk to have it unsummoned many times.
Yeah, I have a nice collection of alpha unsummons at home.
So there is Rietzel
Meanwhile,
attacking with Burrington Forge Tender. So
continues
Jacob
to
will
tend
get
the forge. Here's a student of warfare.
it. And here comes the first counter on the student.
Still a 2-2 though. Just give me an update on the other match. Marin is being attacked by a Loam Lion and a Tarmogoyf. They're both small. The Tarmogoyf only has a land in the graveyard, and the Loam Lion is not getting any benefits from the Murmuring Bosks in play because of a pair of Spreading Seas.
Yeah, which is a pretty miserable return for a Lone Lion and a Tarmogoyf.
And a Reflecting Pool, it looks like, can only make an island for... he's Spreading Seas to all 3 of his lands for the time being. Okay. Back over here we see a Volcanic Fallout.
Which obviously Rietzel will think about doing something about.
Who does he care about more?
Yep, he decides he's going to say no.
How many cards are in here? 4.
4 cards in hand for Jacob. Rietzel 2 up, looking to finalize the deal.
Plays the second Honor of the Pure.
11.
And again, that's pretty decent insurance against the Grove of Punishing Fire.
Attacks for 4 with the Student of Warfare. I'm sorry, attacks for 5. He makes it a 3/3, and then
'Tis big.
yeah, double pump from the Honor.
See, I find once you get above 3, the word lots comes in handy.
Yeah, lots.
Attacks for lots.
And there's a
Step links.
Step links.
Well done. So Jacob,
Does he have a
in a
Damnation?
fair amount of trouble here at the moment.
Does he have a Damnation? Does he have Consume the Meek?
He has a Reflecting Pool. And he has a Damnation.
Nope.
Little trivia, I think Kevin Walker turns out to have made the most Magic cards of all time. I did not know this.
And they give him all the good ones, it looks like,
They
sometimes.
give him quite a few tasty ones, don't they?
And,
The Black Wrath.
And we'll recover from the Black Wrath with a Spectral Procession for Paul.
So Jacob will have to do something useful about that.
Go ahead.
Looks like a Lightning Bolt.
I'm not sure, but he may have played a 3rd Honor of the Pure.
Indeed he has. So now Jacob.
Yep. Attacks with his Creeping Tar Pit.
Okay.
That's terrible.
So
Can
what
he
does he have
survive?
left then?
Can he survive an attack
was
for
that
12?
just, I feel like giving my Creeping Tar Pit a run out? Remind it what the red zone looks like.
3.
He's going to be down to 3 because there's 2 of the
Did one of the tokens get
2
killed?
survive with the Lightning Bolt last turn.
Ah, okay.
So he takes 8, goes to down to 3. He now does have enough land to do competent things. There's Consume the Meek. But every single threat is lethal from Rietzel from here on in. 1 mana, there's a lethal threat. It's a Student of Warfare.
Level.
Deal with that.
Level.
I'm just going to pump, and I'm just going to pump and pump.
Level.
You kill it, I'll make another threat. It will be lethal. But this is why you play Control, to be right on the edge. Just to see if there's a way out. There is 1 card in Mike Jacobs' hand right now. That is all that stands between Paul Rietzel and the Pro Tour Amsterdam final for 2010. Oh boy.
Paul's.
I'm going to attack.
Paul's like attack.
I-
Michael will animate a Creeping Tar Pit.
Yep.
Yep.
Burlock. Boom.
Munch.
Yep.
Buy another turn. Look at the top of his deck.
Now at this point, Rietzel is going into the tank. He's checked that Jacob has just 1 card in hand.
Right. Well, now he's sort of caught right between Cruel Ultimatum and Damnation.
Yeah, he has the choice. Does he run out the second creature, at which point Damnation makes him look foolish and he's out of threats? Or does he sit there with just a Student of Warfare, at which point, for example, Smother makes him look foolish and out of threats?
There's a Spectral Procession.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make 3 more threats.
Level. Yep.
So we are looking for Damnation. Jacob only had 3 mana available at end of turn, so there was no mana for Mystical Teachings. He now has 2
Lays
cards.
down
He
his
lays
cards.
them down, and that is it. Wow. Paul Rietzl by 3-0 defeats Michael Jacob and advances to the Pro Tour Amsterdam final. White Weenie in the final of the Pro Tour. Awesome.
Deck designed by Gabriel Nassif. On a weekend where we could, I mean, we all expect to hear his name during the announcements made between the semifinals and the finals regarding who will be inducted into the Hall of Fame this year.
We could be putting him out of his misery in about 1 game's time, potentially, because we're not far away from that. Let's bring you one more set of Scars of Mirrodin cards while we head back to Libet against Nelson. And then the next set, here we go, we've got Memnite, Memoricide, Silvermere, which many of you will be familiar with, and Steel Hellkite.
Just zoom in on
I'm
that.
going to guess that Steel Hellkite's what you want to talk about.